Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Long from Sew a Story, and I'm thrilled to be here today with you through Missouri Star Quilt Company to share with you a very special tutorial of a quilt craft project that I have created using my Little Witch fabric line. So let's get started. We are going to be creating today the Quilted Witch's Hat. So this is a paper pattern that you can get through Missouri Star. It's fully illustrated, and then there's downloadable templates that you'll get as well. We'll go through all of that together, and you'll get to make this lovely Quilted Witch's Hat. Look how it stands. I'm going to show you all of the tips and tricks in your favorite fabrics. So I am using it in oh my goodness. I am using it in my Little Witch fabrics. So I designed this fabric for Widely Baked Designs, and it's called Little Witch, and it comes in all of these wonderful colors. I'm just going to show you a few of the options. Look at this. We're going to talk about just a few options of using some of these florals on there as well. And then we're going to just show you some kid sizes and what you can do as well for some younger children. We're going to talk through all of that. Look how just they all stand so great. They are fully lined, so you won't see any raw seams. Look at that. And we'll have lots of fun here. So come on in and let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do, I'm just going to put my hats off to the side. So you can choose which color hat and which size of hat you want. So you're going to need to grab the pattern. It's the Quilted Witch's Hat pattern. It's by Sew a Story. So that's me, Jennifer Long. And in here, there is a code to download the templates. You're going to print out the templates, and there's two sizes. There's a children's size and an adult size. You're going to print out the templates. They look like this. A little tip and trick when you are printing templates on your home printer, or you take it somewhere to print, just make sure that you print at actual size. Sometimes printers do a fit to print, and you don't want to do that when you're printing any templates out. So you want to just make sure that you do print actual size. And a good way to check that it did is there's always this 1 inch on my patterns. I always put this 1 inch marker. And so just double check that the 1 inch is exactly 1 inch. And then you know you have the pattern correct. So you're going to print out your pattern. You're going to grab your paper, your fully illustrated step-by-step pattern. I'm also going to walk you through it. You're going to grab your fabric requirements. So on the back, there is the fabric that you need. And we need a yard of main and lining. So I'm going to replicate this hat right here. Okay, so this is the lining inside. This is the outside. It's the main from Little Witch. So I'm going to grab a yard of my main print and a yard of, this one's called Spider Dots. I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but it's just tiny little spiders sort of scattered like dots. So I just feel like they go together really perfectly, and the oranges blend together. If you want to get inspired, here is the purple main that I've made, and then it has the, it's not purple, it's magenta, and it has the deeper magenta lining here. And I've also made a couple others. Can't stop, won't stop, right? And then this is like the autumn. It's got some little bats in there and pumpkins. And then this is it's called lace on the bottom. So you can just choose the prints that you want to sew with. And you're going to choose a yard of each of those. This is the Little Witch fabric line. You can get this at Missouri Star. And here's all of the colors at the back, and a few other things that you're going to need. So I love this product. It's called Fusible Fleece Heat and Bond. We're going to take this product and we're going to use it to adhere, which gives you the option of quilting or not, and we'll talk through that. And then we're also going to use this one, and this one is like the magic sauce. So this product is called Craft Extra Firm Fusible Interfacing, and it is so light, but it gives a lot of strength. So look at how large this hat is, but look how it's standing on its own. There's not a lot of thickness here at all, and that is those two working together to give that beautiful point at the top. So you'll want to have that. If you're going to do this optional applique, you can use the fusible, well, you'll want to use, where is it here? Fusible interfacing. So this lightweight, I like to use the lightest one like this. Not necessarily extra light, but the lightweight one. But you can just use any two-sided fusible interfacing as well. And then all your basic sewing supplies after that. So come on in, let's get started. I'm going to drop you down and show you what to do. Okay, so let's get started. I have my Quilted Witch's hat pattern, and I've collected all the requirements from the back of the pattern. And we're going to start right at the beginning. So the first thing we're going to do is download those templates that we talked about. You're going to use the code inside there, and you're going to make sure that they print to scale. So you're going to use that 1-inch square, and you're just going to double check that it matches up exactly perfect and that it prints to scale. There is an adult size template, and then there's also a child's size. So depending on what you're going to, what size you're going to make, that's what size you are going to print. There's also instructions here to measure your head first, just to make sure that your head is fitting into like the one size fits all, and then just how to change it if you need to change it. You're going to use your paper scissors to cut out this template along the line. So you're going to cut out the template along the lines and even along the fold line here. And you're going to do that for all of the pages. And then I'm going to bring the one I've cut over here. I'm going to make a child size, and we're going to connect them together. So I'm going to show you how to do that for the brim. So the template is really easy to follow. So basically you're overlapping this. It says part 1 of 2, part 2 of 2. So all you have to do is overlap it so it matches exactly. And another great way to test that that's accurate is I'm going to do it on my cutting mat here. And I'm going to make sure that these two lines will fold up exactly on the fold. And they do. So I'm just going to take my tape and tape my template together. Good. And that one is prepared, the hat brim for the child size. The 1/4-inch seam allowance is included already. And we're going to do the same thing with the cone. So I'm going to line up that fold line along my cutting mat, and then part 2 of 2, part 1 of 2, and we're going to line that up, and the template will fit together exactly, and make sure that that's right along the fold line as well. And you'll see that this line is equal. So super easy and fun, very satisfying when it lines up so well. There we go. Excellent. All right. Then inside the pattern, it's going to tell you to take your main fabric. So I am going to use the orange main here as my outer fabric. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take the Heat and Bond fusible fleece. And I'm going to take the yard that it says here, and this is 1 yard, and I'm going to fuse the back following the instructions on the back of this package. And you can just leave it like that, or you can quilt it. I have one that's ready to go here, and it's been quilted already. So I'm going to show you here. So I already have it fused together. Here's my fusing. I just put some muslin on the back for the long arm machine, and it's all quilted out and it's ready to go. So then all you have to do is fold as needed for your cutting of the templates. I'm going to start with a witch's hat top, and I don't need to use that much, so I'm going to conserve it because I'm going to make other fun hats, I'm sure, with this. I want to make more than just one. I've already made 4. I'm going to line it up along the fold line, and I'm going to pin it in place so it's not moving. 1, make sure that this is totally lined up. 2, and I think I can do 1 more here. 3. Good. Before I start cutting, I'm going to take it down a little bit more and get the second part of my template on there. Good, and this is the brim. And again, I'm going to make sure that that's completely lined up so everything's going to match and it's going to fit together exactly. And here we go. Let's pin that together just so it's not shifting when we cut. And make sure it's in line, pin. I'm going to do at least one more right here. Perfect. Okay. I am going to take my favorite large pair of scissors because I'm cutting through at least 2 layers of fusible fleece and the quilting. So I'm going to follow right along that 1/4 inch line and I'm going to just gently cut. So take your time cutting. If you want to add more pins and you don't have a large work table to work on, then that's a great idea. I'm going to do this at the same time. And then I'm going to come at it from this side. Good, almost there. Good, and that circle comes away. Oh, I should show you that. How satisfying is that? So then you get that perfect circle. That's for the inside of the child's hat, but you can just discard this piece. Or you could bind it with bias binding and use that as a fun little coaster. It's kind of fussy cut already, so isn't that cute? And then I will finish off this hat here. All right, and so then that's the brim. And we're going to come down and cut the cone out together as well. Again, our seam allowance is already put in there, so we're just going to carefully cut like this. And then again here. Nice and easy and straight. If you'd rather use your ruler and your rotary cutter, you're welcome to do that in the line there. All right, and I'll save the rest of that for my next hat. So here we go with those pieces. I am going to take the pins out. I don't need to do anything to prep the brim, so it's already ready to go. It looks like this. What I do need to do to prep the cone is turn it right sides together and line it up nice and straight again. And we're going to take a few more of our pins. I'm going to make sure the edge is here. And I am going to pin, make sure it's totally aligned because I have a 1/4 inch. So I want to be really exact. I'm going to bring my pins a little bit closer and I'm going to do even more here because I want this to be as accurate as possible so that my inside circle will be as accurate as possible. Great. Here we go. Couple more. Pins are your friends, aren't they? Okay, I want to make sure that that's folding nice into itself. And maybe even one more at the top to be sure. I'm going to show you how to get that nice point here too. We're going to take this over to the machine and we're going to do that 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way along. Okay, so I have my pins beside me so I can easily pull them out. I don't want to sew over them. I'm going to start right at the front, but I'm going to show you a little tip and trick that I like to do so that my threads don't make a little nest when I start, especially something like this on the point. I take both the bobbin and the top and I just do a little twist and roll it, and then I pull it to the back and I maintain like a little bit of tension on it. I'm going to line that up exactly on 1/4 foot, but it's still just start just a little bit off. I have my 1/4 inch foot and I'm going to hold on to those threads and I'm just going to start to sew. I'm going to pull that first pin out. Good. Line that up, make sure it's going. And you can see that it's not going to nestle in there, that I'm just continuing that along. I'm going to go back a bit. Because this is an item of clothing, I want to go front and back. Still maintaining this string. And then there we go. And we're off to the races. So then we can do our 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way. And we've got a nice start and finish along that side, following right along my 1/4 inch seam allowance on my foot, all the way along. Good job. Normally I like to leave my pins just a little bit hanging out so they're easier to grab. There we go. This one I did a good job on. Yay me. Here we go. Another little tip and trick when you are sewing any item, especially if it's going to be turned, I like to just make sure that my stitch length is at least 2 millimeters or less. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and small. I'm going to do a back stitch here again and come right off. I'll cut it, and I just wanted to show you this nice 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I wanted to show you what this looks like on both sides. So no nesting happening there. Isn't that great? Okay, come back over to the cutting table and we'll work through this more. All right, so here we go. I'm going to clip this thread off, and as I do, I'm actually going to be careful I don't clip off that seam allowance, but there is a 1/4 inch at the top, and I am going to notch that out a little bit, just because I do not want a lot of extra bulk there. This is a straight seam, so you do not need to clip it, but I am going to do the same thing here and just do a tiny little corner notch, just so that it's really not reducing the amount of bulk that's in my seam. Then what we're going to do is take this hat and turn it right side out. I'm going to use something that I use in doll making, and it's called a hemostat. But you can use any kind of point turner that you want to do. All you have to do with the hemostat is put it in, clip it, and pull it out. I actually have one that's coming out with Riley Blake Design. So if you're looking for a quilter's, the Quilty hemostat, you can look through it at Riley Blake Designs. And it's also called a doll maker's best friend. So I've grabbed a hold of that, and you see how easy this is to turn. I'm just going to pull it all the way through, just like this. And then release those. I'm going to close them up and see how it's like kind of a butt end there. I'm going to use that to push through all the way and get a really nice point. So I'm going to keep pushing that extra fabric. So you're going to be happy that you trimmed some of that fabric when you're pushing this out. There we go. There's our nice point. Excellent. And now look how that's standing already. Isn't that fantastic? Great. So then you're going to think right sides together, and you're going to put this in right sides together. Sorry, like this, right sides together. So the hat will actually look like this. So that's starting to look like your hat already. And you can just start, I'm going to start right at the seam. And pins are your friend. So let me walk you through how many pins I'm going to actually put on here. I'm going to do one here. I'm going to fold this in half, mark where this is, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Fold this in half and mark that, and we're going to align those together. It's going to make for a nice even spacing. Remember, you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance coming here, so you want to make sure it's nice and even. Then we're going to do the exact same thing 1/4 ways this way. So I'm going to do this 1/4 fold. Look how lovely that fits together. It's so satisfying. And you're going to pin right here at the quarters. One, and then you're right again over here. We're going to do the same thing, pull, make sure that those two are lined up, and find that 1/4 marking. And you are going to pin there as well. So it's going to look like this. Now I'm going to add even more pins in between each of those quarters. I think I'm going to say at least 3. I don't think you can have too many pins when you are working on a curve, and it's also like a slight bias, but you should be reduced because you have fused it already, which is another reason why I really love a fusible product, especially for fabric crafts like this, because it reduces the stretch if you're working on any kind of a curve. So continue to go all the way around. I'm putting 3 pins in between each one. So they're spaced out about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And just adjusting as I need. Keep going all the way around. Almost there. Again, I can't keep saying this enough, but it feels so great when you've followed your pattern and your templates and you've printed your templates out and you've taken those extra steps to just ensure that everything's right. You can see how easy this is coming together. And so let the pattern do the work for you, and so that you don't have to. You can just enjoy the sewing process. So look at that. Look how great that looks already. We're going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew that 1/4 inch around the whole way, making sure that I am grabbing both areas. I'm going to take my table off my machine so I can get my arm of my machine in here, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, so here we are again. I am going to remove this so that I have this arm of my machine so I can slide my whole hat in there. I'm going to start, I only have one seam on this hat, and that's the back of the hat. The brim doesn't have a seam, but I'm going to start right where that pin is. So it's like the start and stop is going to be at the back of my hat. And again, I'm going to measure that 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to take my thread so I don't end up with that nest and do that little roll again. I'm going to hold them there. I'm going to just put my foot down and start it. There, we should be good. I'm going to pull out that first pin, and we're just going to go forward a few. I am going to do that back stitch again just to secure it, and away to the races. Here we go. So just staying 1/4 inch, take your time. Again, make sure that you do have that shortened stitch length, at least 20 or 2 millimeters or less, and just make sure that you can see both fabrics. You don't want to lose any either one behind. The wonderful thing about pinning so often is that you really only have that 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch to worry about at a time, because it's been pinned so well all the way around. Great. So you can keep adjusting the hat as you go. You just want to make sure that the seam is flat and straight. Don't worry about the gathers around the hat, because you are sewing it inside the center of the circle. So you just want to make sure that your seam is flat, and you can keep moving that brim over. Excellent. I think we're halfway there. So fun. These are addicting, so I won't be surprised if once you make one, you just can't stop and you just want to keep making more and more and more. They're easy and fun and stand so nicely. There we go. Couple more inches to go. Lovely. We're almost there. There's the end. I'm going to pull my threads. Actually, I'm going to clip them away right now so they're not in the way. Good. Look how even and perfect that comes together. No bunching, no gathering. And I'll just backstitch again to hold it nice and strong. And we are done. Okay, so bringing the hat over here, you can see what it looks like already. So it's looking so good. Already, that's the outside. Look how it stands already, but we're going to do one more step just to make it even better. First of all, I just want to reiterate how there's like absolutely no puckering on there when you take your time and you do all of that pinning. But just to get it even flatter, I want to just give you one more tip. I'm going to take my smallest scissors because this is a curve, and I'm just going to do little snips around the whole inside, just to relax this seam. Now, I don't want to get so close. I'm going to show you actually how close I'm getting. So just maybe 1/2 to 2/3 of that, nowhere near that seam, because we don't want to open it up. Good. I'm just going to use my sharp little scissors and do nice cuts in here. All right, once you've cut all the way around, you can put this aside, and we're going to do the exact same thing with the lining with different fusible inside. So let's talk through that. I'm just going to move that hat over there, and I'm going to take my next fabric here. So this is my lining fabric. I still have my same pattern. This time I'm going to back this fabric, so my lining fabric, with this Craft Extra Firm Heat and Bond Fusible Interfacing. That gives it even more strength and stability from the inside. So I've already fused this fabric to that product. I'm going to pull it up over here and just show you how nice it is. So here it is like this. I've already have this piece done, and you can see it's backed and fused with that Extra Firm Craft Stabilizer. Just like we did before, I am going to fold for each piece here, and I am going to place it on the fold line, and I'm going to pin and cut my lining piece out. So I'll get that creased there. Good. I want to make sure it's totally aligned. Bring over my pins again. I'm going to just save a little bit of my fabric so I can use these cute little spiders for another project, or just be creative. Maybe my children would like to use it. So this is one thing, if you know a little bit about myself. So I am an early childhood educator turned Riley Blake fabric designer. And so to me, whenever I see something like this, I am thinking of either another craft project that I could use it for, or I never underestimate the power of children's creativity. In fact, they can actually come up easier often ideas to do things than we can. And especially if this is a smaller piece that you think you're going to disregard, it's different for them because it has this stabilizer on the back, and so they might come up with something really creative. So you can give them a pair of your fabric scissors, maybe an older pair of your fabric scissors, or you can even trust them with your good fabric scissors if they're sitting there with you, and have them see what they can create there. Maybe they can trace a shape and cut it out. Maybe they can make a little doorknob handle for their bedroom. It's just anything fun. So never think that scraps are going to waste. There's always something we can use them for. And if you can't use them in your sewing room, it's always nice to have a bucket of scraps that you can either donate to a school or an organization, or keep in your room for when the grandkids or your children come and visit, and they can just let them go totally creative. So I would even keep a piece like this. And there, who knows what they'll come up with, and I can't wait to see. So please do share with me when they do. So I've done that hat cut out, and I'll do the exact same thing to the brim, and I'm going to repeat the same process as I have done for the outer hat with the inner lining, and we'll meet you back here to put them together. Okay, so we've done the same thing to the lining, and we've sewn all the way around. And as you can see, you can just double check that everything's come through nicely. I can just give it another press, and we'll just go around and clip all of this so that it's nice and relaxed when we open it up. All right, I'm gonna I don't suggest doing it with the whole inside of the blade, but I've done so much with doll making that I really know where the end of my scissors are. I just find it a little quicker for videos here. So I didn't have this part prepped for you. So I'm just clipping it all the way around, but look, I've made it all the way around that fast already. Okay, so now what we want to do is take this hat and turn it inside out. So the lining is going to go right sides together, and the main is right sides out. I'm going to use my hemostats and just give that another push again. Good. And we're going to fit this right on top of the hat. And I'm actually going to line up, I'm going to find my seam here, the back seam of this hat with the back seam of the lining, and just sit it down completely on the hat. We're going to give it a little push so that it's all the way embedded in there. I can even use my hemostats to do that, or your pointer. Good. Get it completely embedded, and the more that you do, then oh yes, look how nice and even it is. Yay! How exciting is that? So now all that you need to do is do a little stitch line around What I should say is that you should leave a little seam open on the lining so that you'll be able to turn it. And if you've forgotten, like I just did, even though I've made 4 hats, we'll just use a little seam ripper. Here it is, and I'm just going to open up just a little bit of my lining. I'm going to be able to stitch that by hand again. So we are real here, right? There we go. I just want a little bit to get started, and just make sure that you do leave an opening. Obviously in the pattern it says so, but I am teaching from just knowing the pattern so well. So just leave that open on the lining. Perfect, good. Just make sure we have enough to have it turned. That'll be great. Okay, I was just getting so excited about how nicely it matched here. Now we're gonna go all the way around again and give it pinning. So you're gonna go all the way around and pin. Again, the more pins you have, the more you ensure that there is like a nice even, you can see on this one, like a nice flat, even space. We'll press the whole hat once it's done, and you can even top stitch. You can see that I've top stitched around here, but you will go all the way around the hat, and then you'll take it to your machine. And this is also a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, if for some reason your hat isn't lining up all of the way, don't worry if you have to take a 5/8 of an inch or you know, 1/2 an inch or any width here, because it's just going to shorten the distance of your brim. It's not actually going to affect the integrity of your hat. So don't worry about that at all. We do just want to make sure that it's laying totally flat on your hat, on the brim, all the way around. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to take this back to my sewing machine. I don't need to have the arm exposed because this is just flat sewing all the way around. And we'll be back to turn it through that opening that you have left in the lining of your hat. Okay, so I'm going to just use that back as my start and stop point again. And I'm going to take that nice 1/4 inch. I'm just going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit thicker than my 1/4 inch, just on the outside of that far point. Just I don't want to make sure I get all of those layers, the lining and the fabric, and the lining and the fusible fleece and the mane. And I'm going to back stitch when I start and come all the way around and go at a speed that you're comfortable with, taking this gentle curve, following along the outside. Whenever I'm sewing along something, this is a tip that I normally do, is I always put my pins out in this way so that they're just easy to pull out. There we go. Make sure I'm catching everything. And before we turn it, I will go over this with you, but I just want to say it here as well. Before we turn it, you are going to check that it has caught every layer. We don't want a layer to be missing. And then you turn it, then you have to turn it back again. So now is the time to check that all. But if you have a lot of pins, you should be catching all of your layers there. Oh, we're almost there. It's so fun. Okay, just a few more inches around the brim. Look how nice and flat this has come together. Does anybody else get excited about this? All right, I want to make sure that we join. And I'll go back. And good. Up. All right. So again, I'm going to take this back and I'm going to do all those little clips around this so that it will lay nice and flat when we turn it. Being very, very careful after all this work that you don't cut into your seam allowance. So take your time with this if you want to like take it out on the deck or while you're watching a show or just while you're having some family time. I'll do a little deeper check, but we're going to take both sides and you're going to check and make sure that you've caught around all the edges on both sides. And I'll meet you back at the cutting table. Okay, so we are here. We have a nice flat hat. It's fully lined. Everything is inside. We are going to use that opening that we just made, and you can just be as simple as pulling the quilted hat through. This is where the real magic happens. So we're going to push through. Oh my goodness, this is the most exciting part. And we're going to push the lining through. I am going to use my hemostats here again. I love the length of the ones that I have designed with Riley Blake Designs that are coming out next year. But you can use any kind of point turner that you have, and it just gets that nice, great point. And we'll just open this up. And I'm going to use this on the brim as well. I really want that brim. Do you see how this one has this? It's so flat and it's really nice and strong. I'm going to use this to get that exact same. I'm going to just push out along that seams. Now, clipping the seams is going to help achieve this on a circular, but just giving that little extra kind of press. And I'm going to take this over to the my ironing station as well after. But let me just show you. I'm going along the whole brim. Good. Keep going. We're almost there. Good. Just pushing out all the way around. There we go. Good. Now you can use your hand stitch and a little whip stitch, or you can sew this together on your machine. So that is completely up to you. If you want to just, it's going to be the inside the hat, so no one will see it. So if you want to take it over to your machine and do a quick stitch line, you can. Or if you want to hand stitch, you're welcome to as well. Just for this video, I'm going to press it through right now. And again, I'm going to use my point turner or my hemostat just to get the points completely aligned together. Oh, it's coming together. Look, it's fully lined. Oh, how fun. Okay, here is our hat. So let's go and press it. You can take it over to your ironing machine and just press along this whole brim. Look at that, everyone. Oh my goodness, how beautiful is that? And you can even top stitch here if you want to, or look, you don't even have to. It's holding its shape so nicely. That's all of the power of what's inside. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and thank you Missouri Star Quilt Company for inviting me to share this tutorial and pattern with you. The Quilted Witch's Hat pattern is by Sew a Story, Jennifer Long. You can get it through Missouri Star Quilt Company. I'm using Little Witch fabric through Riley Blake Designs, and I can't wait to see all of the witches' hats that you create using this pattern and the templates and the tutorial that I just shared with you. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Hey everybody! Every week I give you a new idea, and we are almost 1 million quilters strong. So join us every Friday for a new tutorial, and if you haven't clicked or subscribed, make sure you do that today. See you on Friday.